Hi everybody! Today we'll be talking about composite functions. Now you should have a sheet that looks like what's on your screen. Go ahead and take that out and be prepared to take notes along with the video. Now just like last time, I'm going to go through number 1A with you and then ask you to pause the video to try to complete 1B on your own. When you're done completing that on your own, come back to the video and we'll check our work. Alright? Let's go. Alright, so looking at number 1A, we have f of g of 0. Composite functions are like functions within functions, which may sound a little bit confusing. But just like anything where we see a lot of parentheses, we kind of like to work from the inside out. Let's do this one as an example. So this one is f of g of 0. Working from the inside out, the first thing that we want to touch is this g of 0 here. So let's go ahead and use this middle function and figure out what g of 0 actually equals. So plugging in 0 for x, we actually get that g of 0 has a value of -1. Okay? Now that we actually know what g of 0 is, we can go ahead and plug that value into here. To make that make sense, let's rewrite that. Now, instead of writing g of 0 in the middle here, we're writing f of -1, because isn't -1 what g of 0 really is? Now let's compute that. To compute f of -1, we're going to use this first function here and plug in -1 for x. So we're doing -3 times -1 plus 2. Doing that on your calculator, that's going to give you that f of -1 equals 5. And at this point, you're done. You just found out that f of g of 0 equals 5. Good job. Now try to do number 1B on your own. Pause the video and then come back to check your work. Alright, welcome back. Let's do number 1B. Again, we're working from the inside out. So the first thing that we want to actually work on is g of 1. Okay, so let's use the g function here and plug in 1 for our x. Okay, plugging in 1 for our x here gives us a value of 0, which we are now going to substitute with that g of 1 there. So we can call it even our new problem becomes h of 0. Okay? But now we have a function for h, so we can go ahead and plug in our new input 0 over here, and we get 4 times 0, which is 0. So now we know that h of g of 1 equals 0. Alright, good job. Let's keep going. (2a). It's the same exact idea. Composite functions, we work from the inside out. So in the very inside, we have h of 2. So let's actually compute that. using this last function here, because that's the h, we're going to actually find h of 2. 2 is our new input, so we're just plugging in 2 where x is. So we get that h of 2 equals 8. Okay? So now that we know an actual value for h of 2, we're going to take that and plug that in for h of 2 since we just got it. So now we're rewriting this guy as f of 8. You see that? We're just replacing that h of 2. Now since that's the f brings us to this function here, let's actually plug that in. -3 times 8 plus 2, if we do that on our calculator, that's going to give us -22. Alright, so that's our answer. F of h of 2 equals -22. Done. Alright, go ahead and pause the video. Try 2B on your own. Alright, same idea, so we'll move quickly. Working from the inside out again, we have f of 1. We're just plugging in 1 for our x. And using this function, that's going to give us -1. Now we take what we got here, plug it into here. So now we're doing g of -1. Using the g function now, we have -1 squared minus 1, which if we do that correctly, that's going to give us a value of 0. Good job, let's keep going. 3a. This one looks a little bit more complicated, but it's really the same idea. It just adds one more step. So again, we're working from the inside out, starting with this very inside function, h of 1. Okay? Ignoring all the rest for now. So we're just doing h of 1, so using this third function, plugging in 1 for x, and we get h of 1 equals 4. Alright, that's our first inside. Now we're going to the next layer. Okay? This one, we're just working with the g, and we know what h of 1 is, right? We got that to be 4. So we're just plugging that in here. Now we've got g of 4, and that's our next step. Let's plug in 4 here into our middle function here. Oops. Okay, so 4 squared minus 1 is going to give me 15. And now we have our very last step, which is this layer here, the whole thing. We've gotten our value for the middle. This whole g of h of 1 is 15, so we're just plugging that right in. This whole thing is 15, so we're just doing f of 15. See how we're working from the inside out? Okay, and then we have -3. We're using 15 as our x. And if done correctly, that should give you an answer of -43. All right, go ahead and pause. Try 3B on your own. All right, last problem. Let's do it the same way, working from the inside out. The very inside is this h of 2 function. So we're going to use this over here. H of 2 is going to give me 4 times 2, which is 8. That's our very inside. Now we're working on the next layer. We're going to do f of 8. So we're replacing 8 with our x, which is going to give us negative 22. All right, and now the very last layer, g of all of that. So we're doing g of 22 because that's what we got this inside to be. Negative 22. So we just do negative 22 squared minus 1. If we do that correctly, that should give us a final answer of 483. All right, great job.